Hello everybody, my name is Megan, you're watching Miss Megan Knits, and look where I am. I am in Colorado at my uncle's house. This view, I cannot get over this view. The reason why I'm showing you right now and I'm kind of holding the camera and things are shaky, because I'm shaky, is because I wanted you guys to see this, but for the actual video part, the best lighting was the other way. See that? Much better. So, I just wanted to show the mountains because I will be staring at them this entire time and admiring how beautiful they are, and I wanted you guys to see them, so take a look. Okay, so if I'm squinting, it's because the sun is like right there, like wherever the sunrise is that way. I'm doing this kind of early in the morning, one because it's going to be a little cooler out here. You don't expect it to be super hot in Colorado, but there's very little in the way of like atmosphere. So the heat is like really direct. So you burn easier than you do down in Massachusetts, where I'm from. I'm here! Yay! It's been hard. I had to take some time getting used to the altitude. I had some altitude sickness. I had a hard time breathing. Apparently here they sell something called recreational oxygen, which is like an oxygen canister. It's like an aerosol can full of oxygen that you just spray in your mouth and nose. It makes life so much easier, but the more you use it, the less you acclimate. So I've been trying to use it like when I need it. But that first night, I kept waking up feeling like I was smothered, you know. But it only takes a couple days. And to be honest, it affects about 40% of people. So, you know, and it seems to be regardless of how healthy you are. So it's not like you have a health condition that makes it better or worse. Just about 40% of everybody gets it. Also, I have water here in a fancy water glass. It's plastic because Phil's girlfriend Jamie buys plastic glasses, which I think are so cool because they're cute, but they're also plastic, so you can't break them. And the tap water here is so good. Like, I thought I had good tap water from my well at home because it has some naturally dissolved fluoride and minerals that are healthy, but not all the bad stuff. But, oh my god. Like, you could bottle this stuff. This is better than Poland Springs. This is better than Aquafina, better than Dasani. Like, I just tasted it once and gulped the whole glass down. I was like, I need more of this. I just swallowed a nice cube whole. Ah, that was hard. Now it's cold in my throat. I'll be fine. I can breathe. It went down the swallowy hole. Anyway. So, I'm here to do a Miss Megan Knits. I know it's been a couple of weeks. I could explain depression to you, right? And I could explain bipolar with depressive episodes to you. Honestly, the point is I wasn't knitting or crocheting much, so I didn't have much content, really. But now that I'm in Colorado, I feel a little bit better. And now I also have the content of not only what I've done, but like what I chose to bring and why. So I figure that is enough to make an episode out of. And I feel much better being in this mountain air with the beautiful mountains in the background. So that's really cool. Alright, so I'm going to talk about some FOs I brought, like practical objects I wanted to bring to Colorado, as well as the work in progress that I brought. I don't know where to start because this isn't my usual episode. So let's start with FOs, I guess. The FOs I chose to bring, I brought 2 shawls and 2 pairs of socks, because I only have a couple of pairs of socks for me, so I brought those. And then Jamie made me an FO. So, I'll talk about that one first because that was most interesting. She crocheted this beautiful scarf, and it's got that kind of chenille yarn feel, almost like a Bernat blanket. I'm not sure if that's the brand of it, but it's got that kind of chenille yarn feel, and it's like pretty standard crochet, but the way she paired the yarns together actually makes it look really classy. It's like simple but elegant, you know what I mean? And it's really long, like. And what's cool about it being really long is when I put it down on my neck like this and I stand up, it touches my feet. And if I do it the way I normally wear scarves, which is folded in half and kind of tucked through, this is not perfectly even, usually I make them even, but then it just pokes out the bottom of like a jacket or something, and it's super warm, it's super squishy, and I'm so honored that she thought of me and made me something like this. So, I don't know what the yarns are. They're white chenille and this kind of really funky looking, it's really cool. It's got all these pieces and bits in it. Those kind of silvery, metallic-y type deal. So that's really cool. Everybody is on a hike today, so my mom and Phil and Jamie are on a hike today. Noah and I are staying here because I have a video call with my doctor today, so I couldn't go hiking. Darn, because it's a 4-mile hike each way. I'm sort of athletic, not really, but 4-mile hike each way in this altitude would probably kill me, so I'm glad I'm not going. But I hope they have tons of fun. And it's kind of cool because right now Noah's not awake yet. It's really early in the morning because the sun's rising over here. So I have this whole balcony to myself, and I have, you know, it's gonna be really fun. If he wakes up and comes over, maybe I'll get him to make an appearance, but he might not because he sleeps in a lot, basically. The time change has been good for him because he sleeps in at home, so then it's 2 hours behind, so then he wakes up, you know, reasonable. But I was an early riser, so then I would wake up at 4 in the morning until I got used to it. It's like, no, let me sleep at 4 in the morning. Okay, anyway, my other FOs that I made, that I brought, were 2 shawls, I said that already, and 2 pairs of socks. I'll talk about my socks first now. These are dirty, but they're not like disgusting looking. These are my first ever pair of socks that I did an afterthought heel. No, that's not true. I did a worsted weight pair. This is my first fingering weight pair of socks that I did an afterthought heel with. And you can't see it on this sock really, but you can see it if you look at the sock. This is Knit Picks. I will link the Ravelry project pages for these FOs below. I don't remember the names of the yarns and patterns. It's been kind of a while, but I'll link the Ravelry pages so you can get to that yourself. I believe this is Knit Picks Chroma Twist, or Chroma Gradient. It's a Knit Picks, it's a gradient, it's fingering weight. It looks really cool. So I started with this sock. You start from the toe and go up, and then for the, yeah, the pattern. Where's the pattern? My first toe up socks from Susan B. Anderson. Yes, from the blueprint class, but it's also just a pattern you can buy on Ravelry. So you'll see that all on the project link. But yeah, these are super comfy, super warm. I brought these. I actually packed for Colorado thinking it would be a little chillier than it is because of the altitude, and it's actually really hot because of the altitude. So I think I packed a little wrong, just in general, but I'll be fine. They have like cute little stores you can buy stuff if you need to, so I'll be cool. Okay, my other pair of socks, which are clean, are my birthday retreat socks that I did talk about on the podcast when I was making them. I believe this one, the big stripy one, is Premier Wool-Free Sock in Vegas Lights, and I believe the heel is Knit Pick Stroll. I don't remember the colorway name, but it's in the project page. I'm gonna keep saying that because I knit these a while ago. But this is the same pattern, actually, same exact pattern. There I go. So those are my 2 pairs of socks that I brought. I also brought some other cute socks, like I have a pair of socks that are store-bought with border collies on them because I have a border collie at home. My Sophie's a border collie and I love her dearly. So I wore border collie socks to the airport through security and it made me take my shoes off, of course. So I had border collie socks going on. Okay. Shawls. I brought 2. This one I haven't actually used yet. It's been in my suitcase, but I'm probably going to wear it with this outfit today if I get chilly. This is my Girl from the Grocery Store by Joji Locatelli. And I used Malabrigo yarns, I believe, but I cannot remember for the life of me what colorway names they are. But again, Ravelry project page. I bought these yarns when I went to Stitches United in Hartford, Connecticut. And I bought these 2 from the Webb's booth, which is weird because I could have gone to Webb's with less driving time than going to Hartford, Connecticut. So that was not a very calculated move on my part, but I was a young knitter, didn't know what I was doing. And I made this. It's beautiful, it's squishy, it's lightweight, it's easy to wear because it's nice triangle. It's easier to wear than the other shawl I'm about to show you. But you can just kind of wrap it around yourself. It's squishy, keeps you cool in the evenings or in the very mornings when it's a little chilly. But like right now, I'm sweltering, so that will not be happening. And then my other shawl I actually brought on the plane with me. I wore it as like part of my outfit, plain outfit. And what that was this pie shawl. This is the Berry Pie Shawl by Donna Dracunis. And I'm not going to be able to get it all in frame. Oh, the wind is blowing it, making it look very elegant. Although I can't see through it. I can see through it, sort of. But this is the Berry Pie Shawl by Donna Dracunis. This is knit. I got this in a blueprint kit. Again, blueprint is going out of business, so I'm not sure where you're going to be able to find this stuff anymore. But this is some sort of cloud-born, it's like a light fingering weight baby alpaca. I don't remember the name of it. It's in like a orangey color, which I don't generally wear orange, but this is actually really cute on me. So my mom picked it out for Christmas. I gave her a list of like all these different kits, and I said, pick some, you know, pick whatever you want to get me. Right? I'm not expecting the whole list. And she ended up with this one and that sweater I knit on time lapse. That was also a blueprint kit. So the blueprint, I'll link it. It'll be linked. So This is actually really useful because it's big, right? So I've used it as a lap blanket in the mornings, like if I want to wear shorts, but I have, you know, a fleece on because it's cold enough for a fleece. You just put this over your lap, like a lap blanket, and you can't see that I just did that, but it did. And it works really well as a lap blanket. It also works really well as like a scarf or even like a sweater. You could put it over you. Noah told me yesterday he was convinced it was like a poncho with a hole in the middle, and then I held it up for him and he was like, there's no hole. So I guess however I've been wearing it, it looks like it might be a poncho, but it's kind of, you can kind of wrap it around yourself. It's like big enough to fit like over your shoulders comfortably, whereas the other one is a triangle, so it's more like a scarf. Harder to get over your shoulders comfortably, but this one's harder to stay on because it's just a circle. It's kind of a weird shape. You gotta get a shawl pin or something. And then also what I did on the plane is when I was tired, because I only got 2 hours of sleep the night before, and then I was flying all day with 3 connections and 3 planes. I don't know how many connections that is. Like, I put this on and I leaned against Noah's shoulder and I just fell asleep. Which, Noah's here too, can you believe it? My uncle and his girlfriend invited my boyfriend to come here without ever having met him. And he agreed. So like all these amazing people are getting together in my life, and I'm very excited because they're all meeting each other, they're all, you know, hanging out together, and they're spending time together, so that's really cool. Really excited about that. But yeah, this makes a good pillow, makes a good blanket, makes a good scarf. It's really useful. And I hadn't worn it all that much back home because it was hot when I finished it, but it's actually really handy. So back pillow, if you're on the plane and your back hurts, you can kind of stick it there. Find your lumbar support. Okay, those are my FOs. Now, I did a lot of thinking on what whips I wanted to bring to Colorado. Now, I don't travel with empty yarn and needles, generally. If I'm going, this is a 2-week trip for me. If I'm going for longer than that, I might pack a set of needles, but no yarn, and then plan on buying yarn as I go, because yarn takes up more space. But this is a 2-week trip. I figured I could take 2-3 whips, and I'll have plenty to do, because, you know, there's plenty of talking, there's plenty of activity, there's plenty of other stuff going on. I have some books, you know, I'm not going to run out of entertainment. So I've been thinking about like what, and there was like a big switch over at the last minute, because I was planning on bringing a second hat, okay? Because hats are really convenient and easy if you're like walking in the woods to pack in your backpack, and then you find a nice spot to sit, you knit. And all this land back here, he's got like a lot of acres, so you can just traverse and not even leave the land, and, you know, walk all around, find spots, find a cliff overlooking the road, and there's a stream over here. It's really cool. So lots of places to sit and knit. But the hat wasn't working. I didn't have the right needles, and it was like the day or 2 before the trip, and I'm like, do I want to run to the craft store and risk, you know, them not having it, and then what do I do? Or do I just switch projects? So I actually switched that last hat for my Gooseberry Shawl that I've been showing all along, that I've been working on. Haven't worked on it much here because I've been kind of frustrated with it. I worked on it last night and I was literally like, grunting at it, right? Because I screwed up my lace pattern and missed a yarn over, and I had to go back, and then I fudged it a little bit, and so it's going to be obvious that there's a missed yarn over because I did a knit front back instead of a yarn over. I have the right number of stitches, I can move on. It's my knitting, right? But, so I'll show you that right now if I'm talking about it. I switched my usual project bag, because usually I have a really big project bag with the Gooseberry Shawl. I only put in the yarn I needed and the materials I needed to finish it from this point forward. I won't get that far, but if I did, I could. And it ended up in this little bag, Starwood Proud. Starwood doesn't exist anymore. They were bought by Marriott, but my mom used to work for Starwood. So, swag, right? Ends up in our closet. So here's what I brought, okay? Obviously, I brought the actual project on the needles. And I will show you where I've gotten with it. I don't think I've gotten that far since I last showed you guys, because again, depression and whatnot, and didn't work on it much here. This is the front. You're looking at the front. So I've showed you the textures. Recap: towers, shells, grasses, rocks, sand, which is just reverse stockinette, which is really nice and easy to knit, and birds, which are like these arrowheads. You could think of it as like a flock of birds, or like a bird with its wings out, however you want to look at it, but there are lots of birds on Gooseberry, and that was the closest I could find to a bird. And then there will be waves going around the bottom. I'm holding it upside down, because that's the way I would knit it, but it's actually a shawl that goes like, where's the front? This. And it's going to be a big trapezoid with the center spine going down the middle of 46 stitches, and then triangles coming off. This has been more art than craft, and it's been like the most painful thing I've ever knit. I thought that pie shawl was going to be the most painful thing I've ever knit until I started this one, and I'm like, because I have to work out all the details, all the stitch counts, and even once I did that and wrote up like a, I'm going to sit back here because the sun's in my eyes, even once I wrote up like a pattern for it, things were wrong, so I had to fix things as I was knitting, and then I had to basically tough out some complicated lace charts. Whatever, it's all good. We're good. We're good. So that is that. I obviously brought the yarn I'm working with right now, which I weighed. So I saw that I was about halfway through, and I know it's a 50 gram skein here that we started with. So I weighed it and made sure I had more than 25 grams. And I do. I have like way more. And I was more than halfway through when I weighed it. So I should be good with just this one skein. And then I brought one skein of blue, which may not be enough to do the entire water, but I figure once I run out of yarn, I'll just table it. But this is the sapphire color. So these are the BC yarn. The colorways I have right here are Sheep Nougat and Sapphire. The other colorways are Pebble and Flannel Gray. And again, I will link that Ravelry page. So I brought this packet, these poly envelopes I really love for putting patterns in, especially if you have a pattern with a lot of pieces or a lot of pages. And I've got all my charts in here. Half of them I wrote myself because the stitch dictionaries I used for a couple of them didn't have charts. And I prefer to work with charts, so I wrote up a chart. And of course, if you're going to work with charts, Chart Keeper. This is my Knit Picks Chart Keeper. And I'm going to show you this chart because I wrote the chart. The pattern comes from a stitch dictionary called 50 Fabulous Knit Garter Stitches. So there's no purling in the whole book, which is really interesting. I don't mind purling, but I think it's interesting to kind of limit yourself that way and see what you can come up with. And this is the pattern in the middle. So I did the chart. The book didn't have a chart. I wrote the chart. And the symbols are kind of weird. I had to keep looking up Craft Yarn Council symbols and what about the reverse way and all that stuff, but I'm reading it just fine, except for yesterday. And it's really much easier for me to figure out than looking at all those words. Because even when they do like a knit front back, they write it, I guess it must be an older book, because they write it as in parentheses K1, K1, TBL in same stitch. And you're like, it's a little unnecessary. You could just write KFB, but maybe that abbreviation wasn't around at the time. Maybe it's just not the style of the person who wrote the book. I don't know, but I edited it. And that's all I've got for this project. These needles are plastic. They're acrylic, I guess. You don't want to say plastic, I guess. But they are the Knitter's Pride Marbles. I think they're discontinued. These are size 5s. And I'm on a 40-inch cord, but it's still crunched up on there, so, I mean, that's the way of shawls. You get them crunched up on the cord and then you can't stretch them out, but that's kind of how I'm going. I like the Knit Picks cords, not the Knit Picks, Knitter's Pride. Did I say Knit Picks? They're Knitter's Pride Marbles needles, the Knitter's Pride cord. I like those cords better than the Knit Picks cords, so they're a little more flexible. But the Knit Picks cords are cheaper, so that's what I usually buy for replacements. Okay, plug everything back in here. So that was it. You know, usually I'm carting around. I'll talk to you about notions later. That's what's in here. This was in my checked bag. Everything, I'll tell you what was in my carry-on, because I just carried on, oh, there's an ant on my foot. I carried on a backpack and nothing else, right? And then I checked a larger suitcase so I could fit my knitting and my makeup and my clothes and stuff like that. So this was in the bigger bag, obviously, because I'm not fitting this into a backpack. And then also knitting on the plane would be difficult because it's so big and you'd have to like keep flipping it, and you know, people next to you get annoyed, even though people next to me were my own family. You know, my mom, like my boyfriend's not my family yet, but my mom and my boyfriend were next to me. I didn't get as much knitting on the plane as I would like. Poor Noah got ear sick, so I was helping him out and, you know, taking care of him like a good girlfriend. So I didn't get as much time to knit. I was trying to distract him and, you know, calm him down and talk to him and, you know, switch out his sickness bags and, you know, poor kid. But he made it through. You know, we had a really tight connection from Denver to Montrose, like 45 minutes. And we were like trying to do our best to hurry through the airport, but he looked like a dead man, right? He was sick and on the plane landing before, and he just looked terrible. So Mom and I actually carried all his stuff, and I was like grabbing him by the arm, like, don't fall. And we're trying to do escalators. But you know what? It happens to a lot of people. I've been airsick before, you know, my mom has. Everybody on the plane was just like, dude, it's happened before, and they're sharing their tips and tricks with them, you know what I mean? Like, nobody was being a jerk about it, which is really nice, because, you know, you're in Boston, people are jerks all the time. So when you're flying from Chicago to Denver, people are nice. I keep getting ice cubes. I just want water. Okay, the next project. So even in my depression, I was brainstorming knitting stuff, even if I didn't have the motivation to do it. I had told myself that when I finished a project, okay, or when I got to a minimal number of projects, I would knit myself a crop top. Now, I don't know if I'm confident enough to wear a crop top, okay, in any sort of capacity outside, but it would be good for pajamas, or it would be good for, like, you know, wearing around, pajamas, active wear, not active because it's going to be worsted weight or acrylic, so maybe not active wear, but wearing around, you know, wearing as a bra under a shirt, you know, there's plenty of things. So I'm working on the Girly Knits crop top by Lauren Riker. I did it bad, okay, I copy pasted from her blog into a Word document so I could have it downloaded. I know, that's bad, I know. I went through her official blog, I didn't go through anybody else, but I wanted to make sure that I had the instructions in a format that was not need Wi-Fi in case I was on the plane. I mean, I didn't bring it on the plane, but in case I was somewhere without Wi-Fi, I could easily have it. I did also bookmark her blog, and I do visit there frequently, so hopefully whatever ad revenue she might get will go. And I found a lot of her stuff really cute, so, like, she's knitting like a 20-something woman, right? Instead of like a, you know, 40-something woman. And just the style is different, you know what I mean? And what you want is different. So if you're catering towards 20-something women, that's me, right? Hi, hello. Hi, I'm 21, me, hi. And, the stuff is really cute, so I'm thinking about it. Of course, you can't really see from my little pansy ribbing. I chose a 2x2 rib. She gives an option of a 1x1 or a 2x2. The pattern is free on her blog, by the way. I'll link my Ravelry page where it's linked. I'm using Lion Brand's Pound of Love in Claret. This is leftover. I knit a whole sweater with this and had, it was a short sleeve sweater, but I knit a sweater with this and had enough left over for the top, so. Now, you will notice that these are big needles that are a little bit too big for this ribbing, and that's because I did a different emergency run to the craft store because my size 5. Oh, because I didn't have extra size 5 needle tips and I didn't want to rip them out of Gooseberry. So I'm like, oh, I'll go to the craft store, buy a thick circular, call it a day, and I did, but they didn't have 24-inch circulars like this pattern recommends. They had 16 and 29. And I'm like, well, 29's closer. That's such a weird number for a circular. That's because these are the clover bamboo ones. Such a weird number for a circular. But I'm like, it's probably better to do that than to try and cram 24 inches of stitches onto a 16-inch needle. I'd rather be tugging on the loops and fussing with the cord than having to have needle stitches flying off. So this is it so far. I went with the 2x2 rib. It's going to be, I'm not sure, she just isn't the pattern to do the ribbing for however long you want the ribbing to be, so you can make like a whole tank top or you could make just like a bra. I'm thinking somewhere kind of in between, but I figure I'll rib until I'm done ribbing, if that makes sense. This is the yarn I'm using, Lion Brand Pound 11 Claret. If you see it in the sun, yeah, it has little streaks of like lighter red twisted with like really dark red. So it's not just like a solid red. It's really cool, and the light really showed that coming from here. And so in this bag, I've got several balls of that because my ball winder wouldn't wind the whole thing. And I have, let's see, oh, these are the needles I'm using, Clover, 29 inches, number 5. I've got my Word document of the pattern, where I kind of highlighted all my stuff. Go to her blog to see the full thing. That was just a sneak preview. I have, oh yeah, wrote my bust size on a piece of paper so I'd know which one to knit, which size to knit. I have the other size needles because you use one size needles for the ribbing. These are actually 24-inch circulars. These are also the Knitter's Pride marbles in the size 7. Super cool looking. And then I've got ball band, Pound 11. Claret. And then I've got, yeah, a couple other balls in there, but they're all the same. So. And I've got that shoved in this $2 burlap sack from the Christmas tree shop. Now, if you've watched my channel, you know I don't have fancy project bags. I find more joy, actually, in hunting for project bags, like in regular stores. Like, ooh, that would be the perfect sock sack, and you snatch it up, right? Instead of trying to buy them. I understand people make them and deserve, like, a lot of credit for that and deserve to be supported. But I'm kind of, if I could spend money on yarn or on a project bag, I'd prefer yarn or needles, right? And I kind of have to budget like that because I'm 21 years old and unemployed. So, anyway, that's the sack. It's really cute, isn't it? A little burlap zipper sack. Fits everything just fine. I'm trying to pack everything in the smallest bags I can. One more project. This was my plain project. I feel like I'm finishing it too fast. Like, I want it to last through the trip, because it is my hat project. It is my smaller project that I would take on a trip with me if we were going somewhere. But here it is. This is the Brunswick Beanie, and I don't remember the woman's name, but I will link it. I'm working on Knitter's Pride. These are the Dreams, actually, on 16-inch circular cord. I hear stuff moving. No one I know is home, so maybe he's awake and puttering around the kitchen. But I've got, and this is really simple because it's just 1 by 1 rib up until you do the decreases. So you cast on the number of stitches in the pattern for your size, get the right gauge, 1 by 1 rib to the decreases. And this yarn is really cool. Let me pull it out. This I bought from an alpaca farm near my house. So I was at a wine tasting at the winery near my house, because we have a winery. It's really cool. And they also had like vendors, like kind of craft vendors. So they had like natural honey and like a couple of beaded jewelry things. And they also had like alpacas. And by alpacas, I mean the alpacas were there. I'm sure not all of them were there, but they took 2 or 3 alpacas and put them in a little pen that they set up, and we got to pet them. Is it B? We got to pet the alpacas. So the way it seems to work when I looked at their website is they kind of collaborate with other alpaca farms. So like, if you're alpaca and you produce manure, and then you're an alpaca farm and you produce, you know, finished socks, and you're an alpaca farm and you produce knitter's yarn, then what you do is you all swap products and sell them. So you get like support. So I'm not sure if this yarn came from a local alpaca to me, not here, but to me. But it came from an alpaca, and it's very soft. It's 70% alpaca, 30% merino, and it's so generic the way they put the label. Mother Nature's finest fiber USA alpaca DK weight unicorn knitter's yarn, probably because of the pink in there. All natural. All natural knitter's yarn is spun in the USA using US grown alpaca and merino natural fibers. Naturally warm, soft, and strong, and making a great choice for your next knitting project. 2 ply, size 8 to 10 needles. I'm using 5s because I want a nice dense hat. And wash, dry flat. 70% alpaca, 30% merino. So that's cool. And then what I also think is cool is I have the business card, so I'll link their website too. This is the actual alpaca farm that I'm from. Cave Rock Alpaca. Oh, they're in Rehoboth. I feel comfortable saying that because it's on their business card. But yeah, this is their little logo, Cave Rock Alpaca Farm. You can find them on Facebook. They do alpaca sales, alpaca fiber products, and odor-free alpaca manure for plants and gardens. Now, I don't know how alpaca poo doesn't stink. Someone please explain that to me, but it's odor-free manure, so. And then I have in here, what do I have in here? Another one is poly envelopes. This one's beat to hell. You can see it's like broken because I used a lot. And then I put in here the pattern, the Brunswick Beanie, and I see if there's a picture here I can show you without. Yeah, okay. Right there. You can't see the pattern, but that's the beanie. It's just a basic 1 by 1 rib beanie. It looks good on everybody. She actually recommended it as a charity pattern. I just think I would knit it for charity because it's a nice simple pattern, but it's stretchy, so it would fit a wide variety of heads. Because if you don't know exactly who you're giving something to, if they got a big head, they might not fit them. So the 1 by 1 rib, the 1 by 1 rib is really stretchy, so that's helpful. And then of course I've gotten here my DPNs, size 5s. For when I need to decrease. These are the Knitter's Pride Bamboo. I realized if I'm talking about all the needles I'm using, I'm probably going to link them, don't I? That's not found on my Ravelry page, so that'll take me a little extra work, but that's okay, I'll do it for you. And then this bag is even funnier. This is the bag my dad's CPAP mask came in. He had a bunch of them just laying around, and I looked at him like that would be a perfect sock sack because of the drawstring, and it's the right size. So he's like, take them. So I have a bunch of them now that I put socks and hats and stuff in. But this actually folds up real small and gets shoved into the bottom of my backpack. And before anybody asks, I went through security, okay? And people get freaked out going through security, especially at Boston Logan, because of, 9/11 and it happened there, so you think they're going to be extra on guard. Of course they are, probably, right? But honestly, they don't care about knitting needles. I have never had a security officer in this country care about knitting needles. The website says they're allowed, perfectly allowed. They do say though that on the website that your individual TSA agent is like the final say. So if they say no, you say no. But I have never had anybody in the U.S. rip needles with a project. Mexico, on the other hand, I have had my needles taken away from me several times. Not several times, once, and then I check my needles after that, right? But in the US, I've never had anybody care about it. And I saw on Ravelry some travelers are like, oh, but I'm flying to Boston, or I'm flying out of Boston, what do I do? It's like, Boston is not that bad compared to any other airport. Like, the other airports are just as secure. You know, everybody's paying the same amount of attention, and if you're just, you know, an innocent person with no other problems and you have knitting needles, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna care. Now, you may have noticed I did not, forgot to put this in here. Gotta keep myself tidy. Okay. You may notice I didn't talk about notions. This may not have been the best decision, so I'm not saying copy me on this, but I brought one notions case in my carry-on bag with, like, my notions in it. Most of them, all of them. Anything I would need. And then I brought a backup couple of notions in my check bag with the things I thought they might take. So I'm going to talk to you about my notions case here. This has all my usual notions in it. I don't empty my notions cases in between knitting projects. I just stick them full. Oh, there's a cool big bird flying. Sorry. You can probably hear all the chatter of the birds and stuff behind me, so I hope that's not too distracting. It's really peaceful for me. So it has, you know, tape measure, crochet hook, row counter, needle gauge. I brought scissors. These are actually beauty scissors that my mom had because they're the right regulation size and I don't care about them. So if they got taken from me, I'd just be like, take them. No fight from me. I brought a couple of crochet hooks in different gauges for the different projects. That's different from my usual. I usually only have one crochet hook in there. That's about the right gauge for whatever project I'm working on. And then I have all my stitch markers, highlighter, piggy tape measure. Super cute. The little key things for my needles. Stitch markers, stitch markers, stitch markers, stitch markers, stitch markers. Lots of stitch markers. I love stitch markers. Speaking of stitch markers, I'm having trouble with my knitting yesterday, and I'm sitting next to Noah on this bench, right? And I'm over here like, crap! I need to pick up a yarn over because I missed it, but I need to pick it up on the next row and I'm never going to remember because there's so many stitches. So I'm like, okay. And I found the location and I'm pinching it, right? And I'm like, I need a stitch marker. And then I hand this to him and I go, hey, babes, can you find me one of those plastic clippy things? And he goes, do you mean a stitch marker? I was like, I love you so much, right? Because he took the time to listen and learn and figure out what the tools were called. So that's really cool of him to do that. Anyway, he handed me a stitch marker, I marked the spot, I picked it up on the next row, we're all good. We're good. So I have that in here. And then in my smaller notions case, which is checked, because you can check pretty much anything. This is just a soap box from Walmart. This is a case my mom got on Amazon, and she was like, oh, it's so small. I'm like, it's actually probably perfect for notions. You can cram a lot in there. This is a soap box from Walmart. It's like 99 cents. And here I have nicer scissors. These are my, ooh, they're hot from sitting in the sun. These are my Loon scissors. They're not my nicest scissors, but they're nicer scissors. Some more stitch markers, and a tapestry needle. Oh, tapestry needle's the other one too. But I had a tapestry needle in case they take that. But nobody did. Nobody even looked twice at my knitting. I sailed through security so fast because we were at the airport 4 in the morning because our flight was at 6:30. Yeah, my mom scheduled that. She likes to have really early flights, but I don't. I got here safe. We're good. But we flew out at 4 in the morning. We didn't fly at 4 in the morning, but we got to the airport at 4 in the morning. Nobody was even there yet, right? It was closed. And then we had to wait in line for our check bags. And then there were only like a couple of people going through security. Like, we basically had the whole line to ourselves. And so you just smile and you say, good morning, you know? And you give them the cute little redheaded cootie smile that Noah calls it, right? And then you just walk through. Like, you take off your shoes and do all that, and you just go through. And I thought it was so cool because they updated their security since I was last there. Like, they have the bins go on a conveyor belt back. Like, you do your bin, and then it drops into the conveyor belt, and it goes back over to the other side, which is really cool. I think that's really cool. My mom, of course, gets pulled aside for extra screening because she always does. I'm not sure why. I don't know what kind of background check they've run on her and find something suspicious because she's, like, the most boring. Like, she's never done anything criminal. She's never, like, never been to jail. Like, what were they finding on her that they need to run her a background check or something? But we got through. Noah was really nervous going through security because he hadn't in a long time. He doesn't fly very much. But he did so well. Like, I'm so proud of him. Because I'm telling him, just keep your cool and do whatever they tell you to do. answer questions honestly. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. You know, you don't have to feel upset because you're not doing anything wrong. You're just trying to get on a plane. Although I did have an issue because you have to wear face masks because of COVID the entire trip, basically, through all the airports, on all the planes, unless you were actively eating or drinking. So of course, you know, I bought a Coke and sipped on it when I needed air, but I have my mask just right with my glasses, because if you don't do your mask right, it fogs up your glasses. Non-glasses wearers don't get that, but if you have glasses and you have worn a mask, you figure that out by now. So I got it just situated just right so it wouldn't fog up my glasses, and then you go to security, and when you give them your ID, they make you take your mask, like pull it down a little bit so they can make sure it's you. Makes sense. But then when I pulled it down and put it back up, it was fogging up my glasses and I couldn't fix it. I actually went through 3 different masks that I had brought with me to try and find a configuration where my glasses would not fog up. And I finally did, but it was my more uncomfortable mask. So I was just like, okay, fine. I took my glasses off on the plane a lot, actually, because I was knitting. Like, how far away do you need to see when you're on a plane, right? Everything's near you. So that was pretty good. Did I talk about everything? Did I talk about everything? Did I talk about everything? Yes, so I'm just talking now. That altitude, man, like, I do a simple walk that would not wind me at all at home, and I'm like, right, because, did I tell you, 12 versus 8,400 feet, like, that's a big difference in altitude. And like, no, I didn't feel it at all. He was like, I'm fine. And my mom got headaches, and I had trouble breathing. The recreational oxygen stuff is amazing. And then also, like, I'm wearing, like, so much sunscreen right now. Because on my face, I'm not on my body, I really need to, on my body, but my face, I put my moisturizer on to the SPF 35, and then my foundation is SPF 50. And I put them both on because I knew I'd be sitting in the sun, and I didn't want to get burned. I actually wore foundation probably for that purpose. I wouldn't have otherwise. I would have just let the freckles fly, but it's moisturizing and a sunscreen, so. Okay. Oh, also, in case anybody's wondering what books I brought 3 because I couldn't decide. I brought How Not to Be Wrong, Something Mathematical Thinking. Really good book, actually. I just don't remember the title because it's long. Quiet, a book about introverts, which a couple of my family members have read and really liked, so I figured I'd read it. And then A Dog's Purpose, which is more of a feel-good fiction story. I've read that as a kid, but I hadn't read it since, and I found it at my local library's used book sale, and I'm like, well, I gotta buy it because it's like, you know, 50 cents a paperback, and support the library, and I really liked the book the first time, so I'm gonna read it and then probably give it to Noah. Make him read it. He's been reading some sort of military technical manual about tanks and operation whatever, and I don't know how he enjoys that, but he does, so good. He probably doesn't know how I enjoy mathematical books either, so. Okay. Special thanks to Uncle Phil, by the way, if you're watching this. This is a beautiful house, and I cannot believe you let me stay in it by myself. I mean, I'm not gonna do anything, but like, oh my god, right? I'm not used to this. It's so cool. And thank you to Jamie for the scarf. If she's watching this, she doesn't watch as often as Phil does, I don't think. I was surprised they actually told me about my videos and asked me about my blanket squares, and I'm like, you watch? I didn't think anybody watched me. Okay, well, Noah's still asleep. What time is it? 9, well, 10-ish. Okay. Oh, another thing, with my Fitbit, my heart rate has been through the roof, just sitting around here. And it's gotten, like, lower as I get used to it, but, like, when I first came, I'd just sit on the balcony, and it'd be, like, 150. Like, how? I'm just sitting here. Am I gonna die? Yeah, I'm not gonna die, it's the altitude. Okay. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me rant about my travels. I'm not sure if I'm gonna upload this, while I'm here, because the Wi-Fi is not as great, because it's satellite. Or if I'm going to be uploading this once I get home, but I will edit it here and get it ready here, so you can see that. And I may even do another one later if I make significant progress. I might not, because we're doing activities and stuff, but if I make significant progress, I might do another video. Ice cube. Why? They have an ice machine, like a restaurant ice machine in their bar. Their like island bar thing, and the ice is really good. It's really clear. But it gets in my mouth. Did I talk about everything? Yes. Okay. Thank you for watching. I will see you in a future video.